Hi guys, welcome to another video. As you can probably see over my shoulder, back down the Avon. It's about midday now. Now the idea was today to come out and do a little bit of waggler fishing. However, conditions are not great. It's cloudy at the moment, which is good, but the sun's supposed to come out, and if you've seen my previous videos, you'll know that the sun goes right the way across, really low in the sky this time of year, and it's blinding. So we may be up against that. The river also is pushing through a bit. We had some rain in the night. It was reasonably warm rain, so not necessarily a bad thing, but it's pushing through a little bit faster than I'd like. The clarity's okay. We've got about 1.18 inches of visibility, but I do tend to find I do better here when there's a bit more visibility than that. But we'll have a go. What I've done as a contingency is bought my feeder rod with me as well. Go through the gear as and when we use it. I've come to this stretch again because firstly I love it down here, but secondly we're in another national lockdown, aren't we, and we're all being told to go local. I've decided to come about 70 yards from my front door in the spirit of the lockdown rules. So I think a lot of my fishing will be in my very local area. I'm so fortunate to live very, very close to the Avon. We've got a few stretches to do. There's probably 3 or 4 stretches I can fish on club tickets, and this is my private stretch within half a mile of my house. So I'm very, very fortunate in that respect, that I don't have to travel too far. Anyway, enough of the lockdown thing. Clearly I'm going to keep fishing because I can. It's local and it's my exercise. Although would prefer to do a bit of roving, but there's very few swims down here. I could perhaps use some of my exercise sessions to perhaps make a few more swims, but it's not quite as easy as that. We've got lots of reeds in the water and stuff. It's a bit more involved, really. If a club wanted to run matches down here, they have to build platforms, put it that way. But perhaps we'll do that. But we can have a bit of a rove. We've got a few spots we can try. Although I'm loath to try an area just down this way, just slightly going off topic. There's sort of a nice wooded area down here on either side. It's a lovely area, just a few hundred metres downstream, but unfortunately that's where the locals in my village decided it'd be a good idea to build an artificial otter holt, and it's very occupied. So I'm a bit loath to fish down there. It used to be a great spot, but I don't think fishing on top of an otter holt is a particularly great idea. So I do tend to stick a little bit further away here. It's a much wider section of the Avon. Anyway, I'm waffling. You don't want to listen to me talk, do you? What you want to do is listen to me and watch me fish. Hopefully we catch some fish. As I say, hopefully these videos keep you occupied during lockdown. I'm working from home. I have been for since the first lockdown, to be honest, and staying safe that way. So enough talk. As I say, we'll get on with it. We've got a downstream wind as well, so I think we might have to go on the feeder, but we'll give the waggler a go first off anyway. So gear for today, for the waggler part of the day, which will hopefully be all of the session. I've got my my new Cadence CR10 14-foot match number 2 there, which I've paired up with a Cadence CS5 Reel. Lovely float rod this. I've only had one session using it, so I'm really looking forward to using it again. Got 4-pound Maxima line on there. I'm going to use shop bought hooks to nylon. With the cold weather we've been having lately, the water's about 5 degrees, so I'm going to go very fine. I'm going to start on size 20 to 1.5 pound bottom. I've put a couple of balls of groundbait in. That's Angling Bait Company Pro Roach, just mixed with some of my own white crumb that you've seen me make. And I'm going to fire some maggots out, perhaps every other cast, or maybe every cast, depending what sort of reaction we get. Plenty of roach in here. The roach shouldn't mind the water temperature too much. We haven't had a frost for a few nights, so hopefully we can fish the waggler. It's a reasonable pace out there. I'm going to go out in the current. It's not running through too fast, and hopefully hopefully we can do okay. I'm going to use a Drake bodied waggler, reasonable sized one, sort of part loaded, as you've seen in previous videos. I'll stick all the information down the bottom anyway. So all there is left to do is me to put the actual float on here. I'm going to start at about 11 foot, because that's about how deep it is in here. Got some nice depth, having plumbed it previously. I know roughly what the depth is, so we'll get this float on. Baits, I'm Dutch on baits. I've got maggots, worms and bread with me, and I did actually have a bit of cheese paste rolling about in my bag as well from the last session we did, so that's still in there. I can't imagine we'll need that, but maybe if we go on the feeder at dusk perhaps. But aside from that, I don't think I'm going to be using any cheese paste. So let's float out. As I say, reasonable sized Drake waggler. It's 2 AA loaded and then 8 AA on top of that. So it's a big old lump, but it just enables me to get out there. It'll be nice and stable when it's out there. I'm probably fishing at, complete guess, I don't know, good 20 meters, perhaps 23, 24 meters, something like that. That's the distance I'm going to start at anyway. So it's having a big float will enable me to fish effectively at that sort of distance, and obviously with the current running through as well. Okay, first bite, first fish, down the bottom of the swim. There we go, as expected. Lovely little roach. It's a great start, fab. I'll get some bites now. 4 or 5 runs through and now we're getting some bites. Fab. Just what the doctor ordered. Lovely stuff. 3 casts, 3 bites. Fab. What I'm going to do is I'm just going to put another shot on here. Let this float to sit down a little bit lower. problem I've got, although we're catching fish, the problem I've got is, I think if you've seen any of the previous videos, you'll have heard me explain this, but we're on a very wide section of the Avon here, and the main part of the current is on the far side. We're in a sort of, probably an 8 metre deep bay here, effectively. And what happens on different states of flow, this inside does very different things. It's usually a big slack. It's quite often a big slack, certainly when the water's very low. When the water's very high, it tends to push round as a back eddy and it flows backwards. But when the water's just at this sort of height, it pushes through exactly the same as the main current. But what it's actually doing today, so I've never really noticed before, it's actually pushing through faster on the inside than out there. So it's taking a big bow of line with it all the time. So I'm trying to keep as much line as possible out of the water. The problem with that is I've got downstream wind doing exactly the same thing. But never mind, we're catching fish, and that's the idea, isn't it? Well, just noticed I could see my breath. It was about 8 degrees this morning, but they did say the skies were going to clear and it was going to go cold, and by about 4 o'clock it's supposed to be 0. So it does feel a lot colder than it was this morning. Ooh. If we had an upstream wind today, it'd be perfect. All Roach so far. Great stuff. This feels a little better. Ah, dropped off. Well, as you can probably see from the chop, the wind has picked up and it's sort of coming at exactly the direction you're facing, sort of 11 o'clock, and just making it really what should be very enjoyable fishing into a bit of a misery. I can get that bait to run through. Oh, it's come off. I was going to say, if I can get that bait to run through naturally, getting a bite every cast. But as soon as I'm struggling with the wind, or struggling with the wind, that's what's good, isn't it? When I'm struggling with the wind is pulling the bait and the floater naturally. Just don't get a bite. Oh, they're getting a bit bigger. Lovely job. Well, all peas in a pod today. They keep coming. Lovely stuff. Well, slightly bigger one. Camera shy, this one. It's a little bit bigger. Swim's been going a bit hot and cold. Sort of comes and goes, and the fish move, and then I'll get bites further down the swim, and I'll get bites a bit further up the swim. But it's been consistent sport, nothing manic, but been lots of bites and lots of fish, as you've seen. Just hoping that maybe as it gets a little bit darker, the sun is just starting to go behind the trees. Just hoping that perhaps we can pick up a few nicer fish, who knows. Well, I've been through the baits. They're not interested in worms, they're not interested in bread, they're not interested in red maggots. I've only been able to get bites on fluoro maggots and a few on whites as well. Certainly been a constant stream of roach all day. All, all quite small. The odd slightly larger one, but well, the sun's getting lower and lower. I'm still catching the same size fish. God, goodness knows how many I've caught. We'll keep at it a bit longer, just see if we can't pick up something better though. Even if we don't, to be honest, it's been very, very enjoyable. Once that wind swung around, it's been much, much easier to present the bait correctly. Although the wind is cutting me in half, it's swung right to the north. Just a gentle breeze. But it's a proper cold one. Oh, as you can see. You can see my breath. Ah, missed that one. As I said, I've tried pretty much everything. Every bait I've scaled right down to a 20 on a 1.5 pound bottom. And it's not, I've caught probably more fish by scaling down, but nothing bigger. We are due some rain the next couple of days though, so I think it's going to be warm rain as well. You know, sort of 5, 6, 7 degrees, 8 degrees. And I'm sure that'll warm the water up a little bit. The water's just under 5 at the moment. I'm sure that'll warm up the water. It's only going to help, isn't it, in the winter? So we'll have to see how much we get, see what the water's like, see what we're going to do over the next few days. Be nice to get out again. Just been sat here actually while I've been while I've been running this Waggler through, I've been sat here thinking about what to do. There's actually, I mentioned earlier, a swim up in, that's a little better, a swim down that area, in that direction, shall I say. A little better. There's a swim that I made probably 5 years ago now, down towards the otter halt, dare I say it. But you know, the otters have been here quite a few years now, and it may be worth trying down there, just seeing if the fish have sort of learnt to live with them. And there are some fish in that area, because it is a lovely snaggy area. Caught all sorts down there in the past, to say 4 or 5 years ago. Everything from near £20 carp to barbel, to chub, some big old chub. You know, chub do seem to be able to coexist with the otters okay. Certainly is my experience anyway. The areas that have otters, the chub do seem to do okay. Even they do quite well in some stretches. I think because the barbel disappear, the chub take up the space that the barbel sort of used to inhabit, should I say? Inhibit. Yeah, I think the biomass swings towards the chub, and the silvers do seem to be able to cope with the otters being around. The prey species, isn't it? They are able to cope a bit better than the non-prey species. Oh, that was right down the bottom. I mean, we may not have caught anything big, but I had an absolutely wonderful, wonderful afternoon. Really, really enjoyed it. It's nice to be able to get out, isn't it? Especially at the moment, and do some fishing, and middle of January, and we're catching fish. It's fantastic, really enjoying it. I'm not going to give it too much longer though, it's gone proper cold. Ends of my fingers are tingling. But we'll give it a little bit longer, you know, really it's the best time of the day, isn't it? But we haven't had anything today that would indicate we're going to do any better as dusk comes along. But who knows? Oh, missed the line there. With my finger. Oh, it's a great bite. So guys, the sun's gone down, starting to struggle to see the float out there a little bit, so I thought what I'll do is, just for the last 10 or 15 minutes, I'm just going to stay just till it just about gets dark, I think, is just go on the groundbait feeder, see if we can't pick up a bonus fish, a bit of bread flake, perhaps a bit of worm. Just see if we can't pick up maybe a bigger roach, or I don't know, perhaps a perch on a bit of worm maybe. But I'll just clip this up just so it's at the sort of distance that we've been running the waggler down. Out there. Just let that sink on a tight line and it will swing in a little bit. I have to say, since that sun went down a few minutes ago, it's gone proper cold. It is proper cold. And my thermometer is. There it is. Ah, yes, proper cold. 3.6 according to that. Well guys, we're in. Not quite sure what it is. Most probably a bream, I would think. Well guys, we've hung on for a roach. I had a couple of bites which just kept me here and kept me here and kept me here, but in the end hit one, and this is the culprit. Not overly surprising, there's lots of bream in here, but lovely fresh looking fella. Not going to moan at that at all, but I am going to go home. It's absolutely freezing. So all there is left to do, so thank you very much for watching. Hope you enjoyed that. Tight lines, enjoy your own angling, and I'll see you again very soon.